Welcome to the Elevate Media podcast with your host, Chris Anderson. In this show, Chris and his guests will share their knowledge and experience on how to go from zero to successful entrepreneur. They have built their businesses from scratch and are now ready to give back to those who are just starting. Let's get ready to learn, grow, and elevate our businesses. And now, your host, Chris Anderson.
Are you struggling right now? Do you feel like everything is just going wrong? In life and business, feel like you can't get ahead? Well, this episode's for you. Welcome back to the Elevate Media Podcast. I'm Chris Anderson, your host. Today, I want to bring you a little motivation. And so I hope that does this. You know, I was doing some organization around the desk earlier, and I found this note. It's from my grandmother, my late grandmother. She passed away in 2016, and she was a very wise woman. And she always would write me letters, especially when I was down in Texas for a stint living and working. And she would always, have little things to say, encouragement, motivation, things of that nature. And, faith is a big part of my life. It was a huge part of her life, which is a big reason it's part of mine. And I found this from her. And I believe it was actually in her Bible that I have on my bookshelf. And it was a quote from D.L. Moody. And also some things that she wrote under it. So whatever she was going through at the time. So the quote from D.L. Moody is this: "Looking at the wound of sin will never save anyone. What you must do is look at the remedy." And so she wrote to that, "Our faith is tested, and we have to learn that Christ is our only source of help in times of trouble. In times of testing, God is preparing us for a greater service." And so I want to share that with you. I don't know where you stand, and that's okay. I hope you can still take something from this. I hope you still have an open mind and take something from this today, because we all get tested. We all go through trials. We all go through situations in life that aren't ideal, and that's normal. That's a part of life, unfortunately. We are fallen, sinful people. Myself included. We make mistakes. We say things we don't mean, we shouldn't say. We hurt people. Unfortunately, that's just part of it. We do our best not to, but it's going to happen. And so that causes other issues, obviously. And when we go through these testings in life, we have a couple options. We can either focus on the test and say, "Oh, woe is me. Why is this happening? Can't anything go right? When is my turn?" And that's the first option, the victim mindset. Or you have the option and the opportunity to see that testing, that trial, and say, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? How can I improve in this situation? And if you can shift your mindset from the victim to that growth mindset, one, things will change. You'll have a different insight, so things won't seem as bad, won't be as bad as if you were just focusing on them continuously. So when you can shift to what can I learn from this situation? How am I growing right now? What am I supposed to be going towards to get better at? Maybe it's, you said something bad about someone else. How can I improve and not talk bad about others? How can I see myself differently so I don't have an issue with someone else and say something bad? So if you can shift your mindset to, in the moment, in those testings, to see it as a learning opportunity, a growth opportunity, you're going to be so better off, because we always have them. They're always going to come. And so if you can see it as you're being prepared for a bigger platform, for a bigger step, for that next level, it's going to ease the strain just a little bit, because you're going to know that you can grow from this, that you're going to get stronger, that you're going to get smarter, that you're going to get wiser, that you're going to be able to help someone else later who's going through that same thing you went through. So if you can see it, have some sort of silver lining on those testings, then it's going to change. It's going to change, the outcome, because you're not going to be stuck in pity party central. You're going to be moving forward out of this storm. And so I found that, and I wanted to share that with you all today. So again, D.L. Moody's quote: "Looking at the wound of sin will never save anyone. What you must do is look at the remedy." First, he's talking about Jesus as the remedy. And instead of looking at other people's sin and pointing it out, instead of looking at yourself and just beating yourself up, look at Jesus. And see his example of what he did for us and build that relationship with him if you haven't. But then when my grandma said, in times of testing, God's preparing you for a greater service. So if you're going through a tough time, it's just a chapter. Stop focusing on the negative and try to see a silver lining. And I'm always here for you. So go out there, continue to elevate your life, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you for listening to the Elevate Media Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. See you in the next episode.